There's a certain kind of man whose presence changes the atmosphere the moment he enters a room. The air feels denser, slower, as if everything around him shifts to his rhythm. He doesn't announce himself with words or gestures, yet something about him commands awareness. It's not arrogance, not the loud kind of confidence that tries to prove itself, but something quieter, deeper, an unspoken steadiness that draws people in. When he speaks, it's never rushed. Each word carries weight, landing softly but sinking deeply, like a stone dropped into still water. His tone doesn't demand attention. It earns it. And even before he touches you, you can feel his presence brushing against your skin, invisible but palpable. His calm becomes contagious, his silence rich with meaning, his focus a mirror that makes you feel more seen than you expected to be. You can sense him not just through sound or sight, but through the energy he radiates, an energy that feels intentional, grounded, alive. In his stillness, there's a certain patience, a knowing that nothing needs to be hurried. He doesn't rush to fill silence or compete for space. Instead, he inhabits it, and in that space, the world seems to slow down. He listens, not passively, but with full attention, as though every detail you share is a secret worth treasuring. When he looks at you, his eyes hold not just interest, but understanding. His presence doesn't pull you in with effort. It invites you gently, like gravity. Before long, you're not merely listening. You're feeling him, feeling the calm authority of his energy, the warmth beneath the composure. The power of presence is the rarest form of attraction because it demands more than performance. It requires depth, emotional intelligence, awareness, and restraint. A man who is truly present doesn't need to prove anything. He's comfortable with silence because he knows that connection doesn't always need sound. His energy slows the space around him. His gestures are measured, deliberate, each one carrying a subtle intention. He doesn't overreach, doesn't seek approval through noise. Instead, he holds his ground quietly, and that steadiness becomes magnetic. When he listens, his attention feels whole. There's no multitasking, no scattered energy, just the stillness of someone who knows the value of focus. That undivided presence creates a charge, a tension that hums between stillness and desire. Presence is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it with purpose. It's in the way he listens without interrupting, how his gaze remains soft but unbroken, how he waits a second longer before responding. That small pause makes her feel not only heard but understood. Each silence becomes meaningful rather than empty. The world outside fades a little when he's near, as if his focus anchors the moment. In an age where attention is fractured and fleeting, his steady awareness feels intoxicating. She feels herself relaxing into it, trusting it, craving the calm assurance that he brings. He doesn't need to compete with distractions because he isn't distracted. His awareness becomes a kind of embrace, subtle, invisible, but profoundly felt. This is the essence of quiet seduction, connection built not on effort, but on energy. She begins to sense his presence even before he speaks. There's a rhythm to the way he engages, a patience that invites her openness. His confidence doesn't come from ego. It comes from self-understanding. He moves with the ease of someone who knows who he is, and that self-containment becomes alluring. Every small gesture gains meaning, the tilt of his head, the way his eyes linger when she speaks, the stillness of his hands resting without fidget. The effect isn't theatrical, but genuine. She feels safe and yet charged with anticipation, drawn into the subtle tension between his calm and her curiosity. Confidence without presence is just noise, but presence with restraint becomes something unforgettable. He doesn't rush to fill space or dominate conversation. He allows moments to breathe, and in that breathing space, attraction grows. His calmness becomes a kind of language. His restraint becomes his signature. He knows that what's revealed too quickly loses its mystery, and what's withheld too long loses its warmth. So he walks that fine edge between giving and holding back. When he looks at her, there's no urgency in his gaze, just quiet promise. His eyes don't chase, they invite. He allows curiosity to do its work, to draw her closer, not through words, but through wonder. Every delay, every pause, every moment of stillness becomes part of a larger rhythm. He understands that connection lives not only in closeness, but also in space, the room where intrigue breathes. He lets silence speak for him, lets tension mature on its own. The more present he is, the more magnetic the air becomes. His calm becomes her comfort. His restraint becomes her fascination. He doesn't try to entertain. He allows the moment to unfold. She finds herself thinking about him long after he's gone, replaying the texture of his words, the unhurried cadence of his tone, the way he seemed to understand her without needing to dissect her. Restraint, when paired with presence, becomes a form of emotional intelligence. It's the ability to hold energy without scattering it, to contain intensity without suppressing it. He doesn't rush to please or to touch. He lets the connection develop in rhythm, layer by layer. His composure tells her something deeper, that he's not afraid of emotion, not afraid of tension, not afraid of waiting. And that sense of control doesn't come from dominance, but from inner steadiness. He knows how to sustain interest without demanding it, how to build desire without urgency. The longer he waits, the stronger the current between them becomes. He moves with a kind of awareness that fills every gesture with intent. The slightest smile feels like a conversation. The quiet tilt of his head becomes a question. The softness in his tone becomes an invitation. This is how presence evolves into magnetism, not through excess, but through precision. He gives just enough to ignite curiosity and withholds just enough to let it grow. His restraint is not about distance, it's about awareness. He understands that every moment of attention carries energy, and he uses that energy with care. His stillness becomes a container for her expression, allowing her to open more freely. She senses that he isn't trying to control her. He's guiding the moment with ease. This guidance is what gives rise to playful dominance. Not control over another, but mastery of atmosphere. He leads not through command, but through awareness, shaping the rhythm of interaction with confidence and lightness. His tone can shift seamlessly from gentle to assertive, from teasing to sincere, creating a dynamic that keeps her both grounded and excited. He reads her cues, adjusts his energy, lets silence stretch just long enough to make her feel seen. It's not manipulation, it's emotional attunement. He brings a sense of safety that allows her playfulness to bloom. She feels free to explore because he holds the emotional frame with steadiness. That emotional leadership is magnetic. He doesn't try to dominate the moment. He holds it. He gives the interaction shape and balance. She senses his stability, the way he can hold intensity without breaking it. It makes her trust him, makes her curious about him. He doesn't fill every second with talk. He allows space for connection to breathe. His presence guides her attention effortlessly, leading her into a dance between comfort and curiosity. The more she relaxes, the more alive the energy becomes. It's not the chase that excites her, but the calm confidence that he brings into the room. Playfulness keeps that energy alive. He teases lightly, not to provoke, but to awaken. His humor is never cruel, always layered with warmth. He knows how to shift tone, how to turn a simple phrase into something charged with meaning. Sometimes he makes her laugh. Sometimes he makes her pause. The contrast itself becomes part of the attraction, the interplay between softness and strength. She feels both safe and stirred, grounded and intrigued. That's the secret. He doesn't try to dominate her emotions. He guides the energy between them with precision, giving her enough to feel seen, but not so much that the mystery disappears. This balance between openness and restraint becomes the essence of his magnetism. He knows that attraction lives not just in what's said, but in what's left unsaid. Emotional tease is the art of awakening curiosity through subtlety. He doesn't hand over his entire story. He offers fragments, small glimpses that suggest depth without revealing all of it. His pauses make her mind wander. His words linger after they've been spoken. He understands that imagination is the most powerful form of connection because it invites participation. By leaving space for her curiosity, he allows her to invest emotionally. He may tell a story that reveals a layer of his soul, but he leaves out the full picture, letting her wonder what lies beyond. He might give a compliment that feels different, not about appearance, but about something she didn't expect anyone to notice. These small details stay with her, replaying in quiet moments. His tone carries rhythm. His silences feel deliberate. His laughter arrives with timing that feels intimate. Everything he does carries meaning because everything he does is intentional. The tease, then, is not about manipulation. It's about energy, presence, and rhythm. It's how he creates anticipation, not through promises, but through awareness. The emotional tension that builds through this dynamic becomes its own language. She begins to feel him even in silence. His presence stays with her long after he's gone, echoing in memory. His restraint gives weight to every interaction, and when he finally chooses to close the distance through a look, a word, a touch, it carries the power of everything unsaid. His control of energy turns moments into memories. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't seek to impress. His power lies in patience, in the knowledge that true connection deepens with rhythm, not speed. Magnetic mystery is the art of being known yet never fully revealed. It's not about hiding, it's about allowing depth to unfold at its own pace. He lets others sense his complexity without explaining it. The layers of his being are not displayed, they are discovered. His mystery isn't performance, it's authenticity held with restraint. The less he tries to be understood, the more others want to understand him. And that is where fascination lives, in the quiet spaces between what is felt and what is known. He doesn't rush to share every story or emotion, because he understands that fascination grows in the spaces between what is revealed and what is left to the imagination. When he speaks, his words carry weight, because they come from reflection and intention. He reveals just enough to create connection, but leaves enough room for curiosity to breathe. His silence doesn't feel cold or distant. It feels purposeful, like a pause filled with quiet meaning. This kind of silence makes people lean in, drawn to the unspoken energy that seems to live around him. Mystery doesn't mean pretending to be someone he isn't. It means being fully rooted in who he is while allowing others to uncover his layers slowly, naturally, without force or pretense. He moves through life with purpose, but he doesn't need to announce it. His actions speak louder than declarations ever could. There's something magnetic about the way he carries himself, calm, composed, self-assured, that makes others want to understand what fuels him. He can share his ambitions without revealing every detail. He can express emotion without losing control. This balance creates intrigue and emotional depth. She feels the subtle pull of wanting to know more, not because he hides behind walls, but because he invites discovery through authenticity. The magnetic power of mystery lies in the sense that there's always more beneath the surface, something still unfolding. Every conversation feels like a glimpse into something richer. Every glance or half-smile carries a hint of story untold. He doesn't try to impress by constant attention or overexposure. Instead, he allows space to exist between interactions, letting anticipation grow naturally. That space becomes the invisible bridge that keeps attraction alive, allowing connection to expand instead of suffocate. His energy communicates far more than words could ever express. Even in absence, his presence lingers, a quiet echo that feels alive in her thoughts. Not because of grand gestures or rehearsed charm, but because of the emotional residue he leaves behind. The beauty of mystery is that it doesn't fade with time. It evolves, breathing life into every encounter. It invites curiosity again and again, each time revealing something new, never all at once. A man who carries this kind of energy never demands attention. He earns it effortlessly through his authenticity and restraint. It's the calm within him that feels magnetic, the quiet that feels unforgettable. The true beauty of this kind of attraction lies in its subtle unfolding. It doesn't demand or chase. It builds slowly through small, meaningful moments that many overlook. When a man understands the language of energy between two people, he stops focusing on what to say and begins to focus on how to be. Every glance, every pause, every breath becomes a message in itself. It's about being so centered in his presence that she feels safe to open up, yet curious enough to keep leaning in, wanting to know what's beneath that calm exterior. This balance of stillness and intrigue creates a tension that feels both soothing and electrifying. Women are not drawn to perfection. They're drawn to what feels real, raw, and present. When a man embodies quiet strength, emotional awareness, and confidence without arrogance, he becomes a safe space for vulnerability. His grounded energy gives her permission to exhale, to be herself. But when that safety is interwoven with mystery, restraint, and playfulness, it transforms into desire. It's not about creating intensity for its own sake. It's about crafting moments that feel alive, moments where time slows, and the noise of the outside world fades into insignificance. This kind of dynamic works because it honors both connection and individuality. A woman doesn't want to lose herself in someone. She wants to find a more vibrant version of herself in his presence. A man who understands this never tries to own her attention. He earns it by being genuinely curious, present, and authentic. His energy doesn't dominate, it harmonizes. He knows how to guide a moment without controlling it, how to create closeness without erasing space. That awareness turns ordinary interactions into something memorable, something that stays long after the words are gone. It's an art form built on rhythm, awareness, and subtle leadership. Emotional intelligence plays a powerful role in this rhythm. It's the quiet ability to sense when to lean in and when to pull back, when to speak, and when to let silence do the talking. The rhythm of attraction lives in that movement, the give and the hold, the advance and the pause. When a man can hold tension without trying to dissolve it, when he can express desire without urgency, when he can communicate interest through stillness alone, he becomes unforgettable. His energy feels stable yet alive, intense yet patient. This balance between depth and restraint creates a kind of emotional gravity that keeps her returning to the thought of him. The addiction doesn't come from drama or intensity, it comes from depth. The sense that she has met someone who understands connection, not as performance, but as presence. He doesn't need to prove his value. He embodies it through every subtle act of awareness. The way he looks at her when she speaks, the way he listens without interruption, the way his silence feels filled with emotion rather than emptiness, all of these gestures speak volumes. It's not the perfection of his behavior that captivates her, but the intention behind it. His steadiness makes her feel seen. His restraint makes her feel desired. The combination makes her feel alive. In the end, what draws her in isn't the perfection he projects, but the energy he inhabits. Presence, restraint, playful confidence, emotional awareness, curiosity, and mystery. These are not tactics. They are reflections of a man who truly knows himself. When you embody these qualities, you don't have to chase attention. You naturally become the focus of it. You create a space where connection feels genuine, safe, and endlessly intriguing. She doesn't become attached because you try to win her. She becomes drawn because she feels something real when she's near you, something rare and steady that stirs both her heart and her imagination. It's the quiet strength in your gaze, the calm cadence in your words, the depth that lingers in your silence. These are the things that can't be faked, the energies that define authenticity. This kind of attraction doesn't explode. It expands. It grows with time, fed by trust, curiosity, and emotional depth. When you live in alignment with that kind of energy, you don't have to seek attention or validation. You become the experience she remembers long after the moment has passed. The presence itself becomes unforgettable, not because of what you do, but because of who you are.